In this video, we're going to talk about the Scorch's deadliest mission yet. Alrighty then, this is a comic book review of The Scorched, issue number 36, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. So previously in The Scorched, after escaping her employment with the agency, Jessica and The Scorched seek to save medieval Spawn. So we go back to now, Kilgore knew the risk, and this is a monologue of Jessica Priest. This was mostly his idea to go into the Vatican in Italy with a bang. They didn't want to go quiet, they wanted to go loud, but it was unanimous with that vote. And Jessica's like, I can't mind it all because I was cooped up unwillingly working for Jason Wynn and the agency. Now that she's free, she wants to go ham. But we see the Han's ectoplasm suit on the ground as his officer points to it. So how did we get there? So before we could go there, we got to go back a little bit. So we go back to 2 hours ago, and the Scorched and team are back at it again. The first wave of resistance came from the Black Brotherhood. That's what she mentioned where medieval Spawn was at. It was held captive by the Black Brotherhood, and they want to go to work. So Jessica Priest tells him, hand over medieval Spawn now. And Redeemer's like, don't you dare give them another option or else, because they want that smoke. They need that smoke, and they got that smoke. So what happened next was the obvious part. The Vatican was one of the largest well-armed security forces in the world. They had let the Black Brotherhood and outside enforcement group had clawed its way deep into the Vatican's hierarchy. Their government and the mafia, that's who protected them. So she knew they weren't going to hand over anything to them. And boom, they let that smoke begin, and they were looking for all that. That was fine with them, and they don't mind the smoke. So they were all wound up pretty tight at the moment, going to work on them fools. It's been a rotten few months for Jessica, and it's been a rotten few months for them. And what made it worse was the loss of their powers in Spawn issue 350, except for Haunt, because he's not really heaven or hell, he's something in between, so Green World really don't affect him like that. But Jessica Priest was the one that was wound up the tightest. Now, if this was going to be her suicide mission Overkill thought it was, so what? She come to accept that. Whenever she was back to take her last breath on the battlefield somewhere, this is how she wanted it, because she'll never get out of this life. None of them will, as this machine just goes in on Jessica, this Vatican looking Overkill thing. And if that's true, she might as well take as many bastards with them as she possibly can. So we gotta go back a little bit earlier in one of Al Simmons' stash houses. Did I say stash house? I meant safe house. My bad. So Jessica Priest regroups her team. Daniel, before he turns into Hunt, drugs Mark Rosen so he doesn't get all emotional, and they don't want to undrug him or take him off the drug until medieval Spawn is back in the picture. So Overkill's like, so you're gonna drug him so he can reunite with medieval Spawn? None of you have any idea what we're up against, huh? Do you? Back when I was in the bomb, there was one organization you didn't mess with, La Fratellanza Nera, the Black Brotherhood. And Redeemer's like, you sound like you want to back out. No, but why should I die for this? I don't owe any of you anything. Yay! I don't know why I did the Arnold to it. It's just, maybe I had to wake myself up because that is always cracking me up. So Redeemer is like, you're right, but you owe Mark this because he's the one who rebuilt you. And Overkill's like, yo, you better get that sword out my face before I stick it somewhere. And Daniel's like, okay, she Spawn talked some sense into these brothers because I can't. And she's looking over Mark like, damn you, Mark, I was going to be out this mission. I was going to be out. I was going to be done with and spend some time with my daughter, but I never should have made that promise to help you. And even though there's no editorial notes on that she's referencing in the Scorched issue number 34 when she made Spawn that promise. And Daniel's like, Jessica, come on, listen, I think I might have an idea that can help us. So Daniel calls his brother Kurt and tells him I need you, and Kurt's spirit's like, what's up, brother? What you need from me? Thanks for coming, but there's something we need to do, something that's going to be painful, and that something is involved with the beginning of the issue when we saw the ectoplasm suit just lying on the ground. But we'll find out how we get there. So we go back to the fight, and this Overkill Vatican looking machine is about to lay them haymakers on Jessica, but Overkill goes him, tackles his ass, and gets him out the picture. It's almost like Jessica Priest, like she wanted to die in that moment right there, but not gonna happen. So Haunt tells her, get your head in the game, she Spawn. Whatever issues you're having, work them out later. It's game on right now. And she Spawn's like, well, damn, I remember the way he charged at them like he had some kind of death wish. In hindsight, maybe he did, because maybe she's thinking that she had that death wish, maybe Haunt does too. So an explosion happens and they all go back like chiropract, getting their backs blown out from the explosion, that is. So Redeemer's like, that came from above, and Haunt is like, oh, that must be the ones that Overkill was talking about, the Black Brotherhood. And Haunt's like, I'll take care of this. And she Spawn's like, nah, Haunt, get out of the line of fire. So they shoot and we get that glorious explosion again. So meanwhile, we see Haunt's ectoplasm suit right there. Jessica's like, did you see Daniel? Where is he? Because that's the host of that suit. And Redeemer's like, no, we don't have time to search. We got to get our asses out of the line of fire before they spot us. So they leave, and the group makes their strategic retreat. And Viscera is on their tail because she wants that revenge with Medieval Spawn. But in order for her to get that, she has to make sure that they find it. So she's over there in the shadows like, clever. She's being very clever. And while she may have the Brotherhood fooled, I know exactly what she's up to. So Daniel emerges later on. Sun's rising, probably the next day or so, and he's like, well, I think they bought it. And Kurt's like, yep, I think they bought it too. So Daniel's like, she sold it pretty well, so now let's see if they buy it. And Kurt's like, you've taken a big chance leaving that much of the Hanzo behind. You know we won't be at full power for the rest of this, right? And Daniel's like, we'll deal with that when we have to. Right now, we need to section off a space and fortify it to have some place to fall back to. So can you do some recon work for me and let me know exactly where we should go? Kurt does that recon work. They move the art. They go down those stairs. And Kurt's like, how long do you plan on letting Jessica Priest be entailed by the Black Brotherhood, you know? And Daniel's like, as long as it takes. Let her lead them on the wild good chase. And while the Brotherhood chase after her, nobody be watching this place. And that leaves us time to find an unguarded Sir John of York. Medieval Spawn. So they found the brother. Now we need to know what's next, because that is the end of the Scorched. Issue number 36, the Scorch's deadliest mission yet, because they're doing this fight with no damn powers. That's why it's deadly. Maybe a little clickbait, but you watched. Haha. Kidding. Thank you for watching this comic book review of Rated Comics of the Scorched, issue number 36. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also, link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or any of our other limited print Rated Comic exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. And lastly, this video is sponsored by coffee, so if you'd like to buy a boy a cup of coffee, link in description or donate to the Super Thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to Rated Comics YouTube channel. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.